Good Friday morning of the fourth week. This is a great text. Again, he's on his game, as the saying goes. Is it just a great text? And he said, Jesus said to his disciples, don't let your hearts be troubled. That's what I was trying to say yesterday. You have faith in God. Have faith also in me. This is a wonderful line coming up. In my Father's house, there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be. And where I am going, you know the way. Thomas said to him, Master, we do not know where you're going. Thomas always asked the human question, how can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way. I am the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. See, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. It's personal. It's, in a sense, it's the pure personification of wisdom. The way of truth and life. See, that's a beautiful text. It's a consoling text. Where I go and see if there, see, in my Father's house there are many dwelling places. See, in which you are in communion. Dwelling place is just not an empty house, it's a community where all of us are present in love and through love. Okay? See? I'm going to prepare a place for you. You have a very special place in the kingdom. You don't disappear. You're the fullness of who and what you are, with all those you have loved and been loved by. Okay? Boy, that's neat. It's why? So that where I am, you also may be. See, we will be together. Ci vediamo in paradiso. We will see each other in paradise. We will love each other in paradise, together in Christ and through Christ. And how will we get there? By Christ himself, who is the way, the truth, and the life. By embracing Christ in our faith, we are called into an eternal kingdom, which we will share together with Christ and with each other, as I keep saying, with those we have loved and been loved by, forever. It's interesting when he says, where I am, that's again his divinity. Insofar as he is God, we will be with him. See? So that where I am, you also may be. We will share in the eternity of Christ. There's no more tears, no more sorrow, no more loss. Only the fullness of life, goodness and beauty. Personal life, goodness and beauty. I told you this story before, I know I do. I repeat myself too much. That's what I thought of heaven, being with my friends. I said, being with my family and my friends. I want to be with those I have loved and been loved by. And I think about that an awful lot these days, because I think of so many who are in my life, who were in my life and still in my life, but who are in my life and have died. And how I remember them with so much affection and so much love and gratitude. And I pray for them every day. Every day. When I go down I told you that before, down my steps, there's a bunch of pictures there, photographs. And there's many of people who have died, but who have played such an intimate role in my life that I can't think of my life, my narrative, without having them in the narrative. It would be unthinkable to me. And I want to be with them again in paradise. Were these people perfect, models of faith? They were good human beings who were believers, but good human beings, and who were men and women who loved me and invited me into their life, and in many cases shared their wisdom with me. It was street wisdom, but they shared it. I think of the two fishermen, Demi and Pete, Henry Sorcinelli, Demi. My father gave him the name Demitas. Demitas. And the name caught on, Demi, okay? He's known in the restaurant. He's dead now, of course. But in the restaurant, if you said Demi, everybody in the whole New Haven knew who you were referring to in the restaurant. It was a swanky restaurant, the Tivoli. See, he worked with my father. And Pete was Pete Ferriola, the barber. So what did we call him? Pete the barber. your name and your title. Pete the barber, Demi the waiter. See, and stuff like that. John the waiter, my father. See? Joe the cook. Stuff like that. Anyway, Every time I walk, it's the last time I really saw them. Well, I was out fishing with them, 1972. I took a picture of them. I got on my wall. I may have seen them after. I certainly did, but this is so memorable because we were out fishing together, and that was something so special because they were my heroes in so many ways. Were they perfect? Come on. Were they wonderful and beautiful? Yes. Right? I think of Bill Ritchie. And my sweatshirt here. See, Bill Ritchie, guide in Alaska and Canada. I'm sorry, in Ontario. So many people. My aunts and uncles, my family, of course. I always refer to my mother and father, my immediate family, of course. But I think of my friends as well. My friend Frank. The guys we grew up with. Yeah. I want to be with them again. I want to see them again. There is no paradise without them. I said that to my Sarah. Sarah, there's no paradise without you. And that, there's no paradise without you, Junie. There's no paradise without you, Mom and Dad. Pete and Demi, Uncle Harry, and Cianita. See? My family, my brother, my cousin Harry. You see? I want to be. Were we perfect? No, nobody's perfect. But they were holy in their love for each other and for me. And that's got to count. I mean that. Sometimes I think the artificiality of what we were taught as kids in catechism class and stuff like that has to eventually give way to the depth and the reality of the church, which is the flesh of Christ. And in our fleshiness, we are holy. Now, you got to really, it's not piety. It just seems to me a depth of the wisdom of the heart, the believing heart. The men that I just referred to, I loved to be in the boat with them because they would talk, and they were rough and tough when they were talking, but by God, they were wise. They saw through so much. My dad was that way. They had no falsehood in him. It was nothing artificial. He saw the world as it was, and he accepted it. Some of the best men in the order that I lived with were some of the men who had the greatest singular struggles. But they also were truthful. They were also truthful. They were honest with life. I try to be myself, honest with life. Don't ask more of it than it can give, but then to embrace what it can give and embrace it with love and a certain sense of adventure. I think that. I think of heaven that way too, whatever it may be worth you. I think it's the ongoing adventure of life. It's infinitely ongoing in the presence of Christ, the ultimate adventurer. See? I don't think of it as a static state. I think of it as a dynamic state. Love is dynamic. An active, vibrant eternity of love in action. See? Explosion of affection and love and life. That's what I think it is. It's not playing the harp, unless you're a good harpist. It's the excitement of life itself in Christ. I mean that. As I get old, I think of this. I'm old now. I think that his death is fairly imminent, no matter what. What do I got? A few years left? 10? I don't know. But when I look forward to being with my family, my friends, my beloved Joni, and all those I have loved and been loved by in the excitement of life itself. Life and love eternity and eternally in Christ, through Christ. Even some of the saints, because my saints are Pete and Demi, Mom and Dad, Joni, Bill. They're my saints. The ones you love and have been loved by, those are your saints, and they will be your saints in heaven. And heaven will not be some cloudy thing, but the vibrancy of life itself, lived in and through Christ, together, loving together forever.